Hip-hop beats can hit so hard, and no matter what genre of music you make, there's a lot we can learn from hip-hop beats to make our own music hit harder. So let's dive into it. I know I make house music now, but I actually started out making rap beats like over 15 years ago. Check out this beat I made back in 2011 for this rap group called Ground Up. But I think if you make house music or pop music or anything else, there are really 4 big ideas you can steal from hip-hop beats to make your own music better. The first one I would say is no overcrowding. You know, in electronic music, it's not uncommon to have a project that has over 100 different layers in it. And that can all make it sound really full and exciting, but I think most of the time, all those layers actually take away from what the core of the song actually is. And in hip-hop beats, like it's pretty common just to have a couple elements like the drums, bass, and one main melodic element like these horns. And not overcrowding your tracks does 2 important things. First, it allows the listener to only focus on what actually matters. Like with this beat, I could have added like an arpeggio in the background, I could have added a pad, I could have added some effects, but all that takes away from the main brass melody, which is what I want the listener to focus on. With any track, you gotta think about what are people actually gonna remember from this, and then you wanna focus the songwriting and production on those memorable elements. And the second thing that not overcrowding allows you to do is make a mix that just bumps so much harder. While you're making a track, it might sound good to keep adding layers and make things sound more full, but then when it comes to the mixing and mastering stage, everything is gonna sound really squashed because nothing is gonna have any room to breathe. Now, the second thing we can steal from hip-hop beats is the use of really short, punchy drums. Let's go back to this other beat. If I turn everything off but the drums, you can start to see it. You can see all these drum samples have a really nice attack to them, but they're also really short. And what that does is leave a lot of empty space in between for the melody to come through, but more importantly, for the 808 to cut through. If my drums were longer, the track just wouldn't be able to sound this clean. And if you want some short, punchy drums for house music, you can check out my Pro House Drums pack and try it for free at bigzsounds.com. I like short, punchy drums for all the reasons that I'm talking about right now. Now, the third thing we gotta talk about is bass saturation. How do hip-hop producers get their 808s and basses to hit so hard? Let's use this 808 as an example. If you're listening on phone or laptop speakers, this 808 just isn't gonna cut through enough. You're not gonna be able to hear it that well. And that's where multi-band saturation comes in. I can use this plugin to make multiple bands and then add saturation to each separate one. So I actually don't wanna saturate the low end. I don't wanna mess with those sub-frequencies, but I do wanna saturate this area from like 100 hertz up to like 250 hertz, because you could hear those frequencies on phone and laptop speakers. So I'm gonna turn the drive up, and I'll also push the level of that a little bit. And then I also wanna just saturate the high end a bit. So without it, then with it, that 808 cuts through so much better now. But I do want to warn you about one thing. It totally depends what sample you're using. Like if we go back to the 808 sample I was using before, this 808 already has plenty of presence in the low mids, so it's coming through on phone and laptop speakers already. So it only makes sense to add multi-band saturation if your 808 or bass is lacking those frequencies around like 100 to 300 hertz. And it's just a good reminder that most people don't listen to music on systems that can handle these really low frequencies, but everyone listens to systems that can handle this range up here. So I would focus a lot on that range while you're mixing your bass. Now, the last idea we can steal from hip hop is the power of silence. So let's take this same 808, but this time let's make the notes way longer. So now the bass is at full volume all the time and it just sounds terrible. Let me show you something. I want you to listen carefully to the intro that's going into this beat. Turn up your volume if you need to. Sorry if I killed anyone's ears there, but the only way that something can hit hard in a mix is if there's quiet elements to compare it to. Like, you know when you've been sleeping all night and your phone alarm goes off and it just sounds like a bomb went off? That's because your body got so used to silence while you were sleeping that any sound just sounds so loud to you. The word loud is a relative term. It all depends on the loudness of the other things around it. That's why in hip hop beats, you'll notice big sections of silence in the 808s like this. That silence actually kind of resets your ears, so when the 808 comes back in, it hits harder. So hopefully those 4 tips are helpful. If you like punchy drum sounds, you can check out my Pro House Drums pack at bigzsounds.com. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.